P7 example number 2. Exact same thing, except now it's written a little different. So now we have solve the absolute value of 3x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 5. Okay, so what would you guys do to solve this one? Would you do anything different? Huh? How would you do that? Well, you could do it the exact same. Your textbook has it a different way, and I'll show you a little step. But what Mr. Adams likes to do is try to make things simple. So I could do the same thing. I'm going to put my negative 5 here, and then I've got 3x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 5. Now, it's kind of silly. It's saying negative 5 is greater than 3x minus 2, which is greater than 5. Well, that just sounds silly. But let's solve it anyways. If I add 2 to both sides, right, I get 7 over here is greater than or equal to, right? Oh, well, I'm saying it backwards because it's kind of backwards. I'm saying negative 5 is greater than or equal to 3x is greater than or equal to 7. And it still sounds funny to me. But now I'm going to divide everything by 3. Oh, it's not 5. And we don't subtract 2, we're adding 2, so this is negative 3. So anyways, I got negative 1 is greater than or equal to x is greater than or equal to 7. And so this is a little bit harder to graph, right? So if I'm gonna draw a graph of this, I've got negative 1 and then I've got 7. So if I cover this up, I'm saying negative 1 is greater than x. So where does x have to live? Think of a number greater than, or well, let me say it again. Negative 1 is greater than this number. Negative 3. So that means we're going to have to be on this side, right? So I'm going to, now, do I do a parentheses or bracket? Bracket. So I'm going to make a bracket here, and then I'm going to go this way, right? Okay, good, good, good. Now, let's do the other side. If I cover this up, and it says x is greater than or equal to 7, think of a number that makes that statement true. 8, right? So that means we're going to have to go in this direction, right? So if we're going to have to go in this direction, parentheses or bracket? Yes, ma'am.
What happened to the 3 underneath the 7?
Oh, it's 7/3. You are correct. Right? Because 7 divided by 3 is still 7/3, right? Yeah. Okay, so now one thing that I should probably mention to you guys is there is a formality to this. Because it's not an intersection, we call this a union. Right? It doesn't intersect, so it's called a union. So this one, we have 2 parts. So when I go to label this, how far does this go? Negative infinity. Good. 2, negative 1, we're including negative 1. Now whenever you have a union, which is sometimes written by the word or, you put this capital U here, right? And then in the next line I'm going to say 7/3, because that's where we pick up again. put a bracket there, comma, infinity. Okay? Now, if we were to solve this graphically, this would look a little different. So if I come in here and I graph this, whoops, what I want to do is I'm going to graph the original function. So let's come back in here. And the original function this time was 3x minus 2. And we said that it was greater than 8 or 5, right? So now when I graph this, it's a little different. So I'm going to sketch my graph here, okay? And we're going to come right through here, and it's going to kind of look like this. And then I have this point here and this point here. So this point over here is 7/3, comma 5. This point here is -1, comma 5. Now what are we referring to when it comes to the graph? If I were to shade in what we're referring to on the graph, what am I talking about? All these values, right, that are on the graph, but then there's a whole bunch of stuff outside of the graph too, okay, because it's greater than. So when we talk about the y direction, what does greater than mean? It means above the line, right? And that makes sense, because if we're going greater than, then we're going this way. And then less than means we go down, in the down direction when it comes to the y values, okay? All right, so I just wanted to remind you guys of that when we talk about graphing functions. Okay. Any questions on that one?